Welcome to Ellis Mowers and More. On today's video, I have 3 blowers right here that are all in need of carburetor kits. All of these were actually given to me for free because they were non-running. So, Hipa is a great sponsor on the channel, a great partner with me. And they're like, hey, let's do some content on some carb kits. I'm like, perfect. So, I've got all this in here. Already had the Hipa carb kits for them. And, we're going to put them on these 3 blowers here next. I'll show you the crash course of how to do all 3 of these blowers, the BR700, the BR420C, and the 125B blower, the 2 Stihls and this Husqvarna blower. I'll have all the chapters in the video down there if you want to see a little bit more specific for only one type of machine, but we'll get all 3 of these going with Hipa carb kits here next. Again, I want to thank Hipa for being a great part of Ellis Mowers and More. They fixed a ton of machines for me. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with the BR700 Stihl first. So we're going to start off with this BR700. I don't have time in this video to show you the whole disassembly process of every machine that we're going to do because we have quite a few to do. But I will show you the carb kits for each of them and what they look like. I've had good success, obviously, with Hipa kits. They've been a great partner to the channel. So this kit comes with a carburetor, an air filter, and a fuel line, as well as a spark plug and a couple of gaskets, as you see down there. So there's quite a few screws you have to take off here in order to get this off. I'll show them to you very quickly. 2 on the air filter. There's like 3 inside the air filter, and then you have to take 4 of them off. 2 of them are kind of on the bottom down here, 2 are on the top for this back cover. You have 3 for the back pull rope here, and you take all those off, and I should be able to access the carburetor. I'll show you how to put the carburetor on very quickly as well for this machine, and we'll test it out once I get everything on as well. So you get all this off. There's one more bolt that you got to get off right there, and then you should be able to pull. Now this may be a little bit attached because of how long it may have been on here, but you should just be able to pull this right off after that. You do have some fuel lines that you got to kind of work through as well. And the carb should just pop off of the base also. There we go. And that makes life easy to get everything off. So after you do that, you can just pull this. You can take care of that. If you need to take care of fuel lines, you can do that as well. You pull this throttle cable off. Make sure that your gas cap is loose, and then you can pull your fuel line off. Hopefully it'll come off easily. Fuel line on top there. And then what you could also do is, if you need to replace the fuel lines, you can do that. These don't look like they're in terribly bad shape, but to put the new one on, new carb on, so if you look at the old carb, the only gasket, there wasn't really any gaskets on it actually. Well, the one actually stayed on, so and it looks to be good. So we're just going to throw this on here. And just remember what fuel line went where. So that one obviously goes up to the top here and will fit in like so for the carburetor. The throttle cable goes into this window right here and will slide into that provision on the carburetor there. And you just clip it in right there and it'll stay. There's a slot that it goes in down on the bottom, the one closest to the engine. And then your last fuel line is going to slide up into the inlet hole of the carburetor there, and you're good. So that's that one. I do need to replace the primer bulb, which is just a couple of, just get a small screwdriver, push it in, swap the fuel lines out, make sure that you get the inlet and the outlet correct. The outlet is going to be going to the fuel tank. So just make sure of that. And I'll put it all back together, get a bunch of bolts, a bunch of screws. The little breather pipe on the back here is going to go into the back portion of this as well. And we should be good to go after that. So I'll get it all back together. We'll see how this first one here runs. And before we put it together, I wanted to show you it back together. Here, your high and low. Your throttle, make sure that your primer bulb works. As priming fuel in, just like this. Sometimes the primer bulb, the fuel lines and stuff can get pinched. Then you can put all your screws back on again. 1, 2, 2 on the bottom. Your 2, obviously we just did for the carburetor itself. The one for that goes right here for the air filter cover. And then your 3 that go for the pull rope. Let's try it out next. Alright guys, so let's crank it up. I just kind of had to play with it a little bit. A little bit of choke settings and stuff. So that's pretty good. We'll move on to the next kit that we need to replace. Alright, so our next blower here is a BR420C. Let me show you what comes in the kit. You have an air filter here, you got a fuel line, and spark plug, carb cleaning tools, and an Allen wrench. The carburetor itself, and then a grommet, a fuel filter, and a gasket inside. So, getting this carburetor off, what you have to do to get it off, there's a couple screws to take off an air filter on the left side over here. And then you have to come over here and take off a couple of screws right there. That screw right there, 2 carb screws, and then the backing plate. You have 4 screws for the pull rope over here, and then 2 screws on the top, 2 screws on the bottom to take this whole piece off. That allows us to access the carburetor. Let me go ahead and take care of that, get to where we're going to take the carb off. We also have to take off the spark plug wire there as well. Set that aside for now, and we will go ahead and put get to the point where it's time to take this carb off and put the new one on. So after you take off all them screws, you're left with this. You have this gasket here, which we're going to take off because it's pretty rough, and use the new one provided in the kit. So there we go. And then, so there's like a little air breather line attached here. There's only one fuel line here for this, so you'll take, there's a little clip snap ring here, it looks like, which we'll take off, and then we'll take the actual fuel line off. And we also have the throttle cable to deal with, so not too bad. These are easier than like the 600 and the 700 BRs in order to get them off. So let's see. All right, and then we're going to take the fuel line off. I'm just going to try and split it, and make sure you loosen the cap, otherwise you got pressure in the cap. It's going to come up and gas is going to go all over the place, so you don't want that. Let's see. So we need to take off this throttle cable here, which I guess it's all the way down because it's, yeah. So release the throttle cable so that you can get it off just like so. Now the old carb is off. We've got the new carb. We're going to go ahead and put it on here. Let's look at the gasket situation. So there is a gasket on the back side of this carburetor here, which means we will replace that. So to put this on, there's a little bit of a gasket sandwich you have to contend with. You have the gasket on the back needs to have the holes in it. The gasket on the front, I don't think really matters if it has holes in it or not for the fuel. But we'll get the throttle cable up in here, and then what we're going to do now is see if we can make this sandwich work. So let me grab the bolts for the carburetor, the big long ones here. I'm going to grab one to start. We'll slide that one through all of the gaskets and everything. And then we'll get the other one. Slide it through as well. Let's see if we can make that happen. Alright. So we've done that, and then we're just going to bolt everything back like it was. Pretty much. I've already put the fuel line and stuff back on as well. So that's good. Again, a third bolt down here. Put your cover on. 2 4 bolts there, and then 3 for your pull rope. And then you put your air filter on, and you put those 2 bolts on right there. And so after we do that, we should be able to try to start this, and hopefully this one runs as well. Alright, so I figured it'd take a few pulls to get this one going. That's why I didn't film it, but I literally threw the choke on, pulled it about 3 times, and it fired right up. So let's see if it'll... Might have to choke it one more time here. Or did I? Oh, I got the switch off. There we go. Fun fact about this one, the guy gave it to me because he took it to a shop and said that they couldn't get it fixed and they thought that it was too low on compression. I've let it sit for about 6 or 8 months before I finally got to it. And lo and behold, it was fine. It was either just flooding out or not getting enough gas, which is crazy. So, all 3 things actually y'all have seen so far in this video, I've been given for free, so which has been nice. Alright, so Hipa carb kit for the BR420C is a success. So our next item to fix is this 125B blower here for Husqvarna, and I want to show you what comes in this Hipa kit here. We have a plug and a whole fuel line set up here. air filter, gaskets, and the carburetor itself. So I will go ahead and start taking this off here. We have to take a decent amount off here in order to make this work. We got to take off the air filter cover. There are 2 8mm underneath here, and then the additional thing you have to take off is the pull rope, and which are some Allens, and this screw up top, that screw right there, and then the 4 screws right here, as well as this screw, in order to get this off. This plastic piece also kind of stays inside of this, so you have to kind of be careful putting that on as well to get to the carburetor, to get the throttle cable off. So that's what I'm going to do here. Get all that off, show you how to take it off after that. So once you get all that off, don't be intimidated by this throttle cable. All it does is slide up into right here, and the spring, there's a spring on the carb, so that just has to set aside. You have to do this so that you can actually get the throttle cable off of the carburetor. And so all I've done here is remove those pieces. This is this plastic piece that you have to make sure fits back into the side panel whenever you get it back on. Now, this one has rotted fuel lines, as you can see, and we're literally just going to take this carb off. And since it's been on here a while, it's going to be a little bit of to try and get off here, but we'll be able to. It's always like I said, when they're on here a while, they get stuck with the gaskets. There we go. And so we pull it off, and then what is good about this kit is, since it comes with the new fuel lines, which is very nice, everything's already lengthwise ready to go for you. So basically it's plug and play because of the length of the lines, and you just kind of follow the routing, because you have an inlet on the top side of the carburetor, on the bottom side of the carburetor, and you follow the hoses accordingly. So I'm going to do that. The grommet is down here. We just have to take a screwdriver, and of course if you clean the machine it'll be even better. But you literally just take that off. We're going to pull the remainder of this carburetor off here, and we got to put a gasket on it as well. So the fuel filter is still stuck inside. I'm going to empty all the gas. So that's the old fuel tank grommet and all of that. And then line up the gaskets according to what the old carburetor gaskets came off of. Put the fuel lines in where they're supposed to be, and you're good to go. I'll show you the fuel line setup before I put everything back on. So the new carburetor on, here's the fuel line orientation. Short line goes in the bottom down here. The longer line goes into the top side of the carburetor here and just kind of goes around, and then this will actually snap into the air filter here. So we've got this gasket I've got to put on as well right here for the carb. We'll put that on, and then we put the backing plate on. You do have to you can slide these in here in order to put them on, and you're good. And so what you want to do is put a little bit of gas in it, or fuel mix, before you put it all back together, like put the air filter and stuff on it, just to make sure that everything's good. You have to do full choke in order to get this through the the choke lever through the air filter cover itself. And then you just gotta push everything back in and you're good to go. The 8mm go together. You put your throttle back like this, and then you put all the covers and stuff back on. When you put the covers back on, just make sure that you're putting this gray plastic piece inside of the orange cover here before you put it all back together. That should be good. I'm going to go ahead and put everything back together, and we'll see if this one runs. Alright, so let's see if this carb kit works here. The power bowl is working great, which is good. We'll throw it on choke to see if it'll start. There we go. Okay, have, a tiny bit of adjustment that could be done with it, but all in all, that's pretty good out of the box. And this one's done. So there you go, guys. As y'all just saw, all three of these machines, I didn't even have to adjust the carburetors on them. They came back to life, which was great. Like I said, all three of these were given to me because they were non-running, and they are now running and going to live another life again, thanks to these carb kits from Hipa. All in all, these kits are really not all that expensive. It kind of depends on what you buy, but they're all under $20. You can even get the 125s for even a little bit less. So between 10 and 20 bucks a piece, this blower will go for like 80. This blower will probably go for 250, and that one will probably go for about 200, maybe even a little bit more on the Stihls because they're highly sought after. So very minimal investment into 3 free items to get them back going again. Hopefully y'all found this video helpful for y'all. Again, Hipa parts, definitely recommend them. I have tried other companies' carbs before, and they seem to be problematic. So Hipa, like I said, about 95% of the time, I throw it on there. Don't even have to adjust them and send them, and I never see them again after I sell them or after I fix them, which is a huge plus. I want to thank Hipa again for partnering with me. We've got some more Hipa videos coming up. I got some weed eaters I need to get knocked out here, and even potentially some push mowers and things along those lines later on down the line in order to get them back going again, because it is that time of year, spring, ready for action. Anything I can get fixed is going fairly quickly, and people need blowers, people need weed eaters, people need their machines back going. Hipa Carbs will do that for you. Thanks again, Hipa, for partnering with me. Thank you all for watching this review and repair video of these Hipa Carbs for these 3 blowers here behind me. I'll catch y'all on the next video. Thank y'all again for watching.